I'm done with thru hiking. I'm done with making content around thru hiking. Most of all, I'm done with making the next hot piece of gear content that's ultralight that you need right now, which in reality you probably don't need, and this is why. Got lots of questions in the last couple of months about what my next thru hike is going to be, and I have no answer for that. I honestly have no desire to do any more thru hiking at all.
You suck! Going back to America.
But I wanted to start by saying this is not meant to discourage you. There should be nothing in this video that is meant to change your mind about thru hiking. If you want to go thru hiking, that is awesome, and I encourage you to do that. I think it's an amazing thing to do, but it's just not for me anymore. And this video I'm going to get into why I started thru hiking, a bit of background, what I learnt along the way, why I'm quitting, and what's coming in the future. I think when I started this channel back in 2013, I actually had no idea what thru hiking really was. I had never actually done a hike longer than maybe 7 days, and my priority in making videos started off really as a focus around building a body that was capable of doing anything in the mountains. Later on, I started to branch out into how to prepare your gear, how to prepare your mind, and over time, I kind of became attracted to this idea of walking really long distances for a really long time and capturing that and capturing what I learned through that process to make videos for you guys. Now, if you go back and watch a video that's more than 2 years old, you'll see me carrying pretty standard hiking gear, you know, big heavy boots, heavy backpack, crazy amounts of pack weight that I would probably never carry again. But somewhere along this journey, I got really hooked on the idea of getting ultralight and hiking long distances, and I went and did it. I hiked the GR11, and then a year later, last year, I did it again via the Haute Route Pyrenees. A little bit more challenging, but essentially the same trip. So now I kind of feel like I've ticked that box in a lot of ways. I have never wanted to pigeonhole myself just as a hiker. I've always been into all kinds of mountain sports, skiing, rock climbing, alpinism, classical mountaineering. So the channel just in the last couple of years has been really focused on thru hiking for a number of reasons, mainly, you know, COVID restrictions and what I was able to do. But one of the primary reasons I got into thru hiking in the first place was because of that physical challenge. I wanted to test myself and see if I really could go and walk 20, 30, 40 kilometers a day for multiple days on end, and I wanted to understand the impact that that would have on my body and my mind, and I wanted to see if I could do it. And it turns out I can. I think at the end of the GR11 and at the end of the Haute Route Pyrenees, if I'm honest, I could have pretty easily just turned around and gone back in the other direction. I don't think that would have been a physical challenge for me. Mentally, could be another story. I'm not sure how I would mentally hold up on doing something like the PCT. And honestly, I'll probably never find out. I don't see myself going to the US for 4 months to hike. It's just not realistic. And I'm going to get into some of those reasons why in this video. I wanted to share with you what I've learnt through these last 2 years. I have been really focused on becoming a thru hiker and going and doing it and living it. And I think one of the first and most obvious things that I've learnt is that weight is important. You know, I went through this typical process of cutting down my gear list, cutting down my pack weight, and getting it as low as possible. It was about 10 or 11 kilos the first thru hike I did. I made a video about the mistakes that I'd made and the things that I'd learned. The next year, I adapted to those mistakes. I learned from them. I got my pack weight down to around about 6 kilograms or less, depending if you count the camera gear. And I thought about making what I've learned from that trip, but I honestly didn't really learn much. I feel like I kind of nailed it with my equipment on that trip. So this is one of the key reasons why I don't think I've really got anything left to teach you. I think I've learnt what I needed to from the world of thru hiking, and I'm kind of just ready to move on. One of the big things that I have learned about the body from thru hiking, doing it day in, day out, is that prior preparation is super important for joint health, you know, building strong tendons, building strong ligaments, looking after your feet, and protecting the knees from that deceleration as we're coming down the mountains. You know, from an athletic perspective in the world of physiology, a lot of what we have learnt about the body comes from powerful athletic sports like sprinting, high jumping, and that's all about acceleration. But there's very little research and very little interest in the world of deceleration. And from my experience coaching people for the last decade, I can tell you that most of the accidents, most of the injuries, and most of the complaints about being in pain come from coming down the mountain. So what I've learned from my clients and what I've learned from myself going through that process has been translated into videos, into exercises, and it's been put into my programs that are designed for climbers. I don't know why I'm wearing a beanie. It is so hot in here. Oh my God. Now, there's two important things that I want to mention about thru hiking, things that I've learned and things that I love about thru hiking, and that is the connection that you have with people, meeting people on trail, building a trail family, conversing, showing people what you have for your gear and learning from others. That has been incredible. Some of the best friends I have now have been made on the trail, and I'm sure they're going to be friends for life. So that is one of the most beautiful parts about thru hiking, and I'm never going to forget that. And the other thing I love about thru hiking is the routine that you have and the simplicity of it. You get up in the morning, you make your breakfast or your coffee, pack up your tent, and all you've got to do is walk. And I think that's what really attracted me to thru hiking, just that simplicity, just to clear my mind of all the bullshit that happens throughout the year. And I just have to focus on walking, being in the mountains, and enjoying myself. Okay, so I'm going to get into the real reasons why I'm quitting thru hiking. First, and probably most importantly, it doesn't excite me much anymore. In the beginning, I was really excited to go and punch out miles and do big days, but I've done that now, and the idea of that just doesn't psych me up anymore. Second reason is it takes a lot of time. Running a business, I have clients, I've got staff, and I've got things to do. So I can't realistically take a month out of my summer holidays to go and hike anymore. It's just not going to be possible. One of the huge changes that's happening to my business that won't allow me to continue thru hiking for months on end is that I'm creating the Summit Athlete Coaching Group. So we're looking to get 8 to 10 individuals who are looking to push the boundaries to move from being a hiker into learning the technical, physical, and mental aspects of going into the mountains and being independent. So not necessarily following a guide or going with a big group, but actually learning the skills, developing the abilities, and truly building the mind, the body, and the skill set that enables you to do absolutely anything that you would want to do in the mountains. And if you want to apply to be a part of that group, then there's a link in the description. Then there's this whole idea and this whole process of trying to capture everything, which I did on the GR11, you know, filming my experience, capturing it, editing it into a story to try and make it engaging, to put it up on YouTube. And the honest truth is, I don't know if I'm going to make that same series for the HRP, even though I've got gigabytes of footage that I could edit into a video. Right now, I just kind of don't have the fire for it. I'm interested in other things, and I honestly don't know if I'll make that series. You know, for thru hikers, one of the big things about being out there is to be present, to be actually focused, and to absorb the moment which you're living. And for me, having to film everything, that took a lot away from the experience. I was constantly looking for the shot, getting my camera out, setting up the shot, walking past, thinking about the audio, making sure all my ducks were in a line to be able to create the best possible thru hiking video that I could. And throughout that process, I was focused on work and not focused on doing what I should have been doing, which is just enjoying the thru hike. Then there's this whole other part of thru hiking which I've never quite understood and I've never really bought into, which is the idea of, you know, constantly looking forward to the summer and preparing your gear and pining for the trail and missing the days when you're on the PCT and how life kind of sucks and there's nothing that's motivating you outside of the world of thru hiking. That is not something that I wish to buy into or promote in any way, because I've just never felt it. I've never ached for the trail so much that I wanted to be consistently living in the future or the past. So that's kind of the one thing that I wanted to move away from in terms of through hiking. So with all that said, what am I going to be doing in the future? Well, I'm super excited about the future. I'm very excited about the videos that I'm going to be creating this coming winter and in the months ahead. And I'm going to be focusing more on the body side of things, producing more content that is actually applicable and useful for hikers, no matter whether you're hiking for a day or hiking for 4 months. The stuff that I'm going to be producing in the future is going to be very, very valuable to you. And I hope that people will take my word on this and implement it and get the benefits from the kind of information that I'm putting out there. I'm also going to be branching out more into the sports that I've always loved: ski mountaineering, alpinism, classical mountain climbing, rock climbing, traditional climbing, and just doing the things that I love in the mountains. And I'm super excited to not feel so restricted about having to create the next video about the latest piece of ultralight equipment when I could be outside enjoying the mountains and just kind of documenting my experience, doing some vlogs and sharing with you the other ways that it's possible to go out and enjoy the mountains. One of the big things that's coming up next year that I'm super excited about is that I'm running a trip to Tour de Mont Blanc. I've been invited by Vagabond Trails to come along as a creative guide. That is going to be a fast packing / trail running trip. So essentially we'll go at our own pace, but the idea is that I want to push you, I want to encourage you to train and get prepared for that. But I wanted to choose a trip that really encouraged people to do the work and the preparation beforehand. And the people who are coming along on that trip are going to learn a lot. So if you haven't already, check out the link in the description for that trip. Other stuff that's coming up in the future that's exciting for me and hopefully for you is that I'm buying a van. I'm going to have a bed in the back, fridge, kitchen, the whole works. It's going to be the home of all my gear, and it's going to enable me to get out into the mountains much more often, so I can make these videos actually out in the mountains instead of being here at home. So this video is kind of a channel update to tell you what's coming in the future, as well as a bit of a closing in the chapter from all the content that I've made in the last couple of years. And if you're still really psyched on through hiking, if you know that through hiking is the thing that gets you out of bed, then I definitely encourage you to keep doing that, make the most of it. There's plenty of videos on this channel that will help you out and give you the knowledge and the experience to be able to do that more efficiently. Here are a couple of examples. Thanks for watching. I hope you continue to keep watching along this journey. I'll see you on the summit. Hype.
Hype boy! Power! Yo, power. Jump up and down.
Power!
No, stronger.
Power!
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 Yes! Do you have power fragrance on?
Okay, I'm gonna make the video now.
Okay.
All right.